Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Oba's Trending Gist, where we break down stories that have everyone talking. Today, we are diving into a major political clash that is playing out on our timelines. It is a story about promises made on campaign trail versus harsh realities on the ground. You remember back in November 2022, the then presidential candidate, that is the president today, Bola Ahmed, today famously dismissed his opponent's focus on data, asking a question that has now come back to haunt his administration. Now statistics we go chop. Una remember that phrase? Now statistics we go chop. Fast forward to today, 2 years into his administration, and that question is more relevant than ever. With Nigerians facing a severe cost of living crisis, his political rival, Peter Obi, has just fired a major shot, accusing the government of serving Nigerians the very thing Tinubu mocked: statistics. But before we break down Obik's explosive post and the reaction, let's take a watch and refresh our memories of that moment in Baramatu, Delta State. So sit back and take a watch.
That one, I think na statistic we go chop.
And there you have it. Now statistics we go chop. This line is hitting very, very differently in 2025, isn't it? Well, Peter Obi certainly thinks so. He took to his X handle to post this sketching analysis of the current situation. Let me read it for you. He wrote, in November 2022, while campaigning in Delta State, the then APC presidential candidate, Bola Tinubu, now the president, berated the other presidential candidates, in bracket Peter Obi. He was ashamed to call his name, saying, "Na statistics we go chop. All I want is to put food on the table of Nigerians." Now, 2 years into his 4 years tenure, Nigeria is classified as one of the hungriest nations in the world, with millions of Nigerians not knowing where their next meal will come from. President Tinubu is now overfeeding Nigerians with wrong statistics, from wrong unemployment figures, wrong inflation figures, and now GDP rebasing, all to put a positive spin on our deteriorating economic and household conditions. Governance is not a rocket science. It's not a gamble. Like I have always reiterated, it requires sincerity of purpose, character, competence, capacity, and compassion. A new Nigeria is possible. PO. That's Peter Obi sign. That's how he normally signs his tweets. You put PO to show that it comes from him. Wow, major shades thrown. Obi is essentially saying the Tinubu administration is doing exactly what it criticized him for, focusing on numbers while people suffer. He calls the stats wrong and accuses the government of a positive spin. So, this brings us to the big question. Is he right? And what's the deal with our GDP? I did some digging. Since President Tinubu took office, Nigeria's GDP has seen some growth according to National Bureau of Statistics, that's the NBS, and international bodies like World Bank. The economy grew about 2.98% in the first quarter of 2025. So on paper, there is growth. However, and this is a huge however, that growth is completely swallowed by soaring inflation, which hits a 28-year high of 33.95% in May 2025. So, while the economy is technically bigger, the purchasing power of every single Nigerian has been decimated. Your money is worth far less. This is the disconnect Peter Obi is talking about. The statistics says growth, but the reality in the market says poverty. As for the GDP rebasing, well, it's a normal process where a country updates its economic data to better reflect the current structure. The last one was in 2014 under Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. While it's a standard practice, Obi's supporters argues the timing is a political move to make the numbers look better amidst suffering. So, is Peter Obi right? He is absolutely right that millions of Nigeria are in deep economic pain and don't feel any positive effect from these statistics. He's tapping into a very real and widespread frustration. But, as you can imagine, the comment section under his post was battlefield, and it's perfectly show how divided the country is. So let's look at the pushback. Some accuse him of hypocrisy and a lack of solutions. First, we have Jagaban Warrior, who defended the administration's policies, saying Yes, the reforms are tough. Yes, the pain is real. But difficult decisions like subsidy removal and FX unification were long overdue. Criticizing data as wrong without offering alternative is not constructive. Then there's Michael Chibuzo, who challenged Obi on technicals of GDP rebasing. He said, when GEJ did rebasing, you didn't call the rebasing wrong rebasing. As a specialist to market, is it that you don't believe that our economy has changed in structure over the past 10 years? Now, and although Daniel brought up Obi's own record asking, how did you change the economic situation in Anambra during your 8 years? Good intentions are not enough to govern. You need progressive policies. So you see a clear theme here. The pain is necessary for long-term gain. Stop criticizing and give solution. And what did you do when you were in power? But the most fascinating reaction for me came from those who aren't necessarily defending Tinubu but are getting tired of Obi's approach. Listen to this from Wendy. Being Igbo doesn't mean we have to blindly agree with Peter Obi on everything. This constant moral grandstanding is starting to feel stale. If Peter Obi wants to lead, he needs to move past slogans and start showing real actionable solutions because a new Nigeria is possible, won't feed hungry people either. That is a powerful point. It shows that even people who are delusioned with the current government are demanding more substance from the opposition. So, what's my take on all this? P2B is a master at channeling the legitimate anger and despairs of Nigerian people. When he says you can't eat statistics, he is speaking a fundamental truth that resonates from the markets of Aba to the street of Kano. He is holding the government's own words against them, and it's an effective political strategy. However, the critics also land some heavy punches. The demand for concrete alternative policies is not just a defensive tactic. It's a legitimate question for anyone who aspires to lead. Pointing out problems is easy. Solving them is the hard part of governance. Slogans like a new Nigeria is possible are inspiring, but they don't fill an empty stomach just as wrong statistics don't. Ultimately, this entire debate reveals a massive, painful gap between government policy and people's reality. While the administration talks about difficult but necessary reforms for a brighter future, millions of Nigerians are just trying to survive today. The question isn't just na statistics we go chop anymore. It is now, when will these policies put food on the table? And for that, neither side seems to have a satisfying immediate answer. That's my take. But what do you guys think? Is Peter Obi right to call out the government, or do you agree with the critics that he needs to offer more than just criticism? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you found this breakdown useful, please do me a huge favor, hit that like button, subscribe to Oba's Trending Gist, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an update. I am Oba. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.